Dear students, in this online class, we are going to study the third stage of formation of a company, that is capital subscription stage, or it is also technically called as what a capital raising stage. So when the public company has successfully completed the first two stages, that is preliminary stage and registration stage. The third stage is what about capital raising stage. So in this third stage, the public company is going for collecting its required amount of share capital. But when the company is going to collecting its required amount of share capital in this third stage, it has to follow the following guidelines, or the following steps has to be followed by the public company to collect its required amount of share capital. That means the following steps are required for raising funds from the public. What are these steps are going to be followed by a public company to collect its required amount of share capital? And those steps which we are going to take study here one by one. The first step the company needs to follow is what? Getting SEBI approval. So SEBI means what? It is Securities and Exchange Board of India. The public company has to get a green signal from this authority for collecting its required amount of share capital. This is necessary for protecting the interest of the innocent investors. Prior approval from the SEBI is therefore required before going ahead with raising funds from the public. That means this SEBI is the regulatory authority in our country which has issued guidelines or notifications or the instructions for the disclosure of information and investor protection, right? A company inviting funds from the general public must make necessary disclosure of all relevant material information that should be disclosed, and if any wrong information given by the company, then the company is going to be inviting some legal action. So that is the reason why whatever information provided by the company before SEBI to getting green signal from its, the company has to mention, means disclose all the relevant, means material or the significant information, and according to that information the company has to follow, means company has to go. So at any point of time the company should not hide the material information before SEBI. That is what the first step. Next, the second one, filing of a prospectus. So prospectus means what? It is an invitation made by the public company for the public for subscribing shares and debentures of the public company. So that is what about prospectus. So a copy of prospectus of a public company should filed with the registrar of companies. So when the company is going to subscribing its shares and debentures, no doubt the company has to go for preparation of this prospectus, and in this prospectus the company is mentioned, company gives the details of shares, how many number of shares are there, the price of the shares, when the shares are going to be issuing, means the commencement of issue of shares to the public and the closing date of issue of the shares and venue where the shares are available. All these are what the information which is mentioned in the prospectus, and according to this information the public would come to know the details of shares. So this is what about the prospectus which is prepared by the company, and it has to be filed and filed with the registrar of the companies. That is what about preparation of prospectus. That is the second stage going to be followed by the public company to collect its required amount of share capital. Then the third one, company has to appoint its bankers, its brokers and underwriters. So what do you mean by appointment of bankers? Means what do you mean by appointment of bankers of the company? Means the application money is to be received by the bankers of the company. That is what about appointment of bankers. On the other hand, the brokers are the people, they are going to sell the shares of the company by distributing the forms and encouraging the public to apply for the shares. Those are called as what brokers of the company. Means they are putting effort to sell the shares of the company to the public, and whatever efforts they are putting to sell the shares of the company, for which the company is going to rewarding them in the form of brokerage. On the other hand, underwriters. So when the company is not able to sell the shares to the public, at that point of time these underwriters are going to promise to the company to buy the shares. Those people are called what underwriters. Means if the company is not reasonably assured a good public response to the issue, it may appoint underwriters to issue the shares. That means underwriters undertake to buy the shares if these are not subscribed by the public. This is the third stage company is going to follow. Means appointment of banker of the company, brokers, then underwriters. Next comes about fourth step is to be followed for subscription of capital, that is minimum subscription. Means in order to prevent companies from commencing business with inadequate resource, it has been provided that the company must receive applications for a certain minimum number of shares before going ahead the allotment of shares. That means the company has to collect minimum number of share applications for going for the next stage. So according to the Companies Act, this is called as what minimum subscription. Minimum subscription means what the company has to collect minimum amount of share amount, right? The limit of minimum subscription is 90% of the size of the issue. That means if the company issued 6 lakh, out of 6 lakh the company has to collect 90%. At least 90% should be collect. If not, what happened? Whatever application money received so far, it has to be refundable. That means applications received for the shares or for an amount is less than 90%, then what happens? The allotment cannot be made, and whatever application money received so far, it must be refundable to the applicants, because the company fails to get minimum number of share application, means share application money, means 90% collection is not possible. Due to this, what happens, whatever so far amount collected, that amount is going to be refundable to the concerned applicants due to failure to collect minimum amount of application money. That is what about minimum subscription. So next comes about application to stock exchange. This is what the fifth step is going to be followed by the company. An application is made to at least one stock exchange for permission to deal in its shares or debentures. That means a public company has to enroll its name with the stock exchange market through which company is going to sell its shares and debentures. So for this purpose, what happen, the company has to make an application to the stock exchange market. This is because of what, the shares are going to be sell through this stock exchange market to the public. If such permission is not granted before the expiry of 10 weeks from the date of closure of subscription list, the allotment shall become void and all money received from the applications will have to be returned to them within 8 days. Failure to which this is the step is going to be followed. So application to stock exchange for subscribing its shares and debentures through stock market, and public can apply shares in this stock market and they can avail the required amount of shares. That is the fifth one, application to the stock exchange through which a company can sell its shares and debentures. The last one coming up, what, allotment of shares. So in this case, the number of shares allotted is less than the number applied for, or where no shares are allotted to the applicant, the excess application money, if any, is to be returned to applicants or adjusted towards allotment money due from them. That means this allotment of shares means the company is going to allotting the number of shares to the applicants who have applied for the shares. For example, if the company is going to sell if the company is going to sell 10,000 shares, so for which company has given a notice in the form of issuing the prospectus. So number of shares in the company going to subscribe to 10,000. Suppose the public also applied 10,000. Now what happens? Each applicant will get one share. So if each applicant getting one share, this is what? This is allotment of shares. Each applicant will get one share. So this is matter is solved. Sometimes what happens? If company receives 11,000 applications, right? So then what happens, all these 11,000 applicants are not able to get company share because the availability of company shares are only 10,000. Only 10,000 applicant will get the share, means each applicant will get one share. But in this case what happens, the applications are received more than the requirement. Then what happen, 10,000 shares are there, 11,000 applications, means 1,000 application money received excess, and whatever excess application money received by the company has to refund to those 1,000 applications holders, because it is excess application money received by the company and that is to be refundable by the company to those application. So here the whatever allotment is done, to whom the allotment issue letter is going to send to the applicant by stating that your shares have been allotted to you people. So that is the step is going to be followed in this allotment of shares. So with all these steps, finally the company is going to collect its required amount of share capital. So here is one more time how the company is going to raising its required amount of share capital. Means in the third stage, capital raising stage or capital subscription stage, company is going to collect its required amount of share capital. By doing so, the first one, company has to get SEBI approval for subscribing its shares and debentures. The second one, company means public company has to file a prospectus before registrar for the purpose of issuing shares and debentures to the public. Then company has to appoint its banker through which transactions are going to deal, and brokers have to be appointed, and underwriters are to be appointed. Means underwriters have to be appointed. So fourth one is what, companies should get minimum subscription at least 90% of issue. If not, then whatever amount so far received, it has to be repayable. Then application to the stock exchange means the company has to enroll its name with the stock exchange market through which company can sell its shares. Means through stock market company can sell its shares, that is stock market. Then allotment of shares. So finally the company is going to allotting the shares, means distribution of shares to the applicants. And if a company is received excess application money, that has to be refundable to the those people who have applied more. So these are what steps are going to be followed in case of third stage, capital raising stage. Thank you.